just demand that I ask you this. What is it about you that you think is so great a man should turn over his entire wallet to you?
I'm looking for a partner. I didn't say I want someone to turn over his entire wallet to me. And you're taking this out of context because I'm telling you that I've had to be a boss babe by choice because I don't have parents. I don't have anyone else. And I've
had to be a boss babe by choice?
I had to be a boss babe out of desperation, out of survival.
Well, then that's
because
not a choice.
I had to survive.
Okay.
Well, I could have gone into drugs. I could have, my life could have gone in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. But I pulled myself out of it and made a successful career. I raised an amazing son, and I've put him through school, and I'm still putting him through school, and I'm still providing for him.
What was the thing that forced this necessity exactly?
Because I don't have parents. They died when I was young.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people who don't have parents, including a lot of women, don't end up becoming boss babes. What made you have to actually be a boss babe?
Because I had to take care of my son.
Yeah, why would that require being a boss? Well, what is a boss babe, first of all? What is that?
A woman that's successful in her career.
Strong, independent black woman that don't need no.
That's it? Well, I mean, but that would include basically just any woman who has a job and is held it, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, how's that being a boss babe?
But for someone to be able to survive on her own income and raise a kid in Los Angeles, that's pretty boss in my opinion.
Boss.
What makes that boss?
Because I made it work and I didn't take money from anyone else.
Yeah, I'm not sure though.
TTS is 100.
So, let's back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're raising the kid by yourself. This is because you're.
I mean, financially, so his dad did help a little bit in high school, but financially, the burden has been on me.
Okay, gotcha. And then, but you've had joint custody, all of this?
Yeah. And
Okay,
he is a good father. He's a good father. He's just not financially, he wasn't a good provider. So my past is dictating what I want in the future. That's why I want a man that's a provider and a protector, because I haven't had that.
Yeah, no.
But you're trying to come at me like I'm some chick that wants a handout, and that's not it at all.
Wait, you have had a provider.
Well, okay.
No, I didn't.
Actually,
no one provided for me.
You went on a dinner date that cost like $3,000.
He's not paying my bills.
Wait.
I mean taking me out to dinner something is in it for him because he's enjoying the dinner also. He's not paying my bills. He's not my provider.
Wait, what's in it for him?
Oh, he loved it. He loved companionship. He says to this day it's his best meal.
But he gets that and you get that.
Yeah.
But him paying for the dinner is one directional.
That's his choice. He's also
Wait, is that your expectation? You want to meet a guy who's willing to be a provider?
Yeah.
You want to meet a guy to pay for your bills?
Yeah. I mean, share in the responsibility with me, so it's not all on my shoulders. Share in the responsibility with me.
So what,
Brian?
90%, 10%?
I don't know what the percentage is, but we would mutually figure it out. Based on our goals.
It's going to at least be 50%.
Based on our goals.
So it's at least going to be 50%. At least.
Why would you say that? What's at least 50%?
Well, I mean, you say, I don't know what the percentage is of how much it is that I expect this guy to contribute, who I want to take care of me, but it's at least going to be half, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's at least going to be 50%, then he's taking 50% of the financial burden off of you. So that's why the question keeps on coming up. Well, what is it that you're bringing that's so great that should eliminate 50% of the financial burden that had nothing to do with this person who takes it off of you that you created for you?
Well, because men of my generation feel like a man by providing for their woman.
So you think that the thing that you bring to the table is that you're going to let them feel like a man?
Sure.
By providing for you.
But also everything else that I bring to the table. Which is exactly everything I discussed earlier.
Yeah,
being.
but you think that those compensate for the 50% that he brings to alleviate this financial burden that you want to get out from under? Because that seems to be like your main thing, right?
I don't have a financial burden. It's not like I have thousands of dollars of debt. I have over an 800 credit score.
Wait, hang on. You said it's your primary motivation that you want a man to provide for you so that you don't have, quote, all of the burden on my shoulders.
Yes. I want to feel like a woman. I want to be I want to feel like a woman.
Okay, so then if he's eliminating this burden off of your shoulders, it's the financial burden.
It's also the emotional support. It's the partnership. It's having your sexy best friend.
You said, in a quote, I want him to provide for me to take the burden off of my shoulders. So if he's providing,
I want to feel provided for.
And he's handing you money. What is the burden he's taking off your shoulders? It's the financial burden. How could it be anything other than that? If that's the primary goal, the primary reasoning here is I want him to eliminate this burden. The burden is the financial burden, right?
No, it's actually the burden of not having a partner my whole life at 52 years old.
Okay, so are you going to marry a poor man you have to take care of?
Sorry, there was a motorcycle.
One more time, Andrew.
Are you going to marry a poor man that you have to take care of?
No, I already did that.
Yeah, no.
I already did that.
So you want to marry a man who you said, quote, takes me to Europe and retires with me.
Well, or I'll move to Europe and I'll meet a man out there.
Yeah, sure, but you still want him to take the financial burden off your shoulders, right? I mean, clearly you don't want a poor man.
I do not want a poor man.
Yeah, so why don't you want a poor man? Because you want him to, quote, provide for you, correct?
Because I've been taking care of everything my whole life, the financial burden of, raising
the financial burden. Yes, the financial burden.
Yeah.
You want him to take off the financial burden, right?
Yes. And
Yes. So if you want him to take off the financial burden, how much do you want? At least half, right?
Let's leave it.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's at least half of the financial burden that you want him to eliminate from your shoulders, they're just asking, all these people are just asking this question of, what do you think compensates him for eliminating 50% of the financial burden that you have that he's not responsible for?
It's not that. It's living with somebody that, it's not that I'm trying to give him half of my financial burden, but we're going to be
you are
together.
trying to give him half of your literally, you are trying to give him half of your financial burden. What are you talking about? How are you not? That's what you're saying you want to do, is give him half at least of your financial burden. How are you not doing that?
Okay, so what I think your listeners or your viewers are not understanding is I'm looking for a partner, and I'm looking for somebody that has the same goals and the same lifestyle and that wants the same thing too. They want their best friend. They want their best friend to live this chapter of their life.
But I'm just not going to let you quite get away with the pivot. How are you not trying to give this man 50% of your financial burden he's not actually responsible for currently, but in the future he will be based on your choices? You are,
but
right?
But isn't that what marriage is? Isn't that what...
I agree. That it's okay for you to share your burdens with your partner.
Yeah.
Fine. Fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to ask what your compensation for giving this guy 50% of the financial burden he's not responsible for currently is. What is the offset to that? That you think is worth it for a man to take on at least 50% of whatever your current financial burden is.
Well, because I'm going to be with a man that wants to be with me, and we have that same goal in mind because we are looking for that in life. I know what you're trying to get at, and you're trying to make it something tangible and quantify it, maybe in a dollar sign.
It is tangible,
but it is
quantifiable.
like love is not. It's something.
Yeah, I think all of these attributes that you just stated are quantifiable. Yes, I think that the financial burden you come with is totally quantifiable. I think that the goals and expectations that you have, totally quantifiable. So yes, of course, I'm quantifying them because why wouldn't you? It's a risk assessment, right? So from my perspective, I would be looking at risk assessment. How much is 50% of your life worth? If it's X amount of this amount of money, then that's going to mean X amount of this amount of time for me. So if that's the case, I would still want some sort of offset for that. You're not, now if you were banking on religion, I would say sure, absolutely. In a religious connotation, that's not going to matter as much. But you're not banking on religion. You said that you're just spiritual. So if this is simply transactional, either emotionally or financially transactional, then I would like to know, what does he get for 50% of your debt and life? I'd like to know.
He gets my undying love and attention and affection.
Okay. All right.
Okay. We have notes here from Lori. Lori, you said that you dated NBA players / rappers?
Yeah.
Celtics?
Huh?
Celtics? Lakers?
You mean
Oh,
Celtics?
I don't.
It's
Yeah.
Celtics.
Did I say that shit wrong?
Yeah.
God damn, that's embarrassing. L in the chat for Brian.
Celtics.
That's what they're called, right?
It's Celtics,
Celtics.
right?
So,
Boston Celtics.
damn, that's rough.
Team that they were
Supersonics?
on. No, neither of those teams.
Supersonics?
Is that even a real team?
That's a team, isn't it?
No.
That's not a team?
Think so.
Super-
Is that not a team?
I'm like
Can you scoot to the
90%
table?
sure it's not a team.
The Supersonics? Am I?
No, I'm like,
Supersonics?
I'd be
I think
surprised.
that's like a
if it
TV
was.
show or something.
Sounds like.
We're an American professional basketball team based in Seattle. Damn it.
What year?
God, I'm old.
Oh,
When did they not be? When were
Ice
they?
Cube, today was a good day.
Yeah.
The Lakers beat the Supersonics.
Mm.
Belt on the big fat fanny. Pulled out the. Is that how that song goes?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so if my opinion is that women are more insecure, I guess, and seek security, and men are more lustful and, seek, carnal knowledge. So then if women are looking for, a financially secure man, so what is, equally valuable, if not sex, or even if it is sex, to a man? Does that make sense?
Can you repeat that one more time?
I'm so bad at explaining things. Okay. So, if women are looking for financially secure men, what in exchange would be of equal value to a man? If
That's a good
it is
question.
sex, then that's your answer. If it's not sex,
It's a good
then what
question.
is it? Thank
feel like
you.
I need-
I have a list,
Pull
but
it up.
Andrew maybe wants to chime in, and then I'll read my list.
There's probably three big primary things that at least I would say from the Christian perspective that we would want. And I can't speak to the secular perspective too well because I think that they have different standards, but I think that they would generally kind of agree with this. I think that men essentially want peace in their home. They want their woman to anticipate their needs. This is a big one that people forget about all the time. The best way you can show a man respect is to understand and anticipate the things that he wants before he even knows that he wants them. And the way that that shows respect and the way that that shows that you love him is because if you can anticipate those things, he knows that you're paying attention to him very closely. So you're the focus. And then the third thing is you have to put him above your own needs and your own desires. And number three is the thing that I think women, at least in modernity, fail out the most, is they want men to put them up on some kind of pedestal. So I've heard this explained this way, that women are trained from birth now how they deserve to be treated, and men are trained from birth how they're supposed to treat women. But nobody is trained from birth for how they're supposed to treat men. And this is a massive problem. Because the truth is that men know how to treat other men because we're in their company all the time, but women seem to fucking suck at it. And I don't think that was always the case, but I think it's due to the standard of how it is that they think they deserve to be treated by men without ever adhering to the standard of how they think men deserve to be treated.
Well put, Andrew. Well put. So your question is, if women are looking for X, Y, Z things, what are men looking for?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a looks component, but I mean, to bring it more so to the characteristics and traits that she's bringing, I would say the three biggest, one is peace, one is femininity, and then, what's the best framing for this last one? I would say sexual purity. Those three things.
So if said woman was to bring those things, either of your guys' things, then would that justify a man being like financially supporting the woman in the way that she would ideally want if it's not like extreme?
Well, I mean, I can speak from my experience that that's exactly what I did. And I took on what would be considered to be extreme burdens by many other men. And I was happy to do so. It's as long as I can have those three qualia, the three that I stated, I'm a very happy man, and I'm a very content man.
Andrew, is there a term? I didn't mean to cut you off there, Andrew, but is there a term?
No problem.
Helpmade? What is that? Like
Helpmade.
Helpmead? Let me Google this. I'm not sure if I'm. Oh, I don't know where I'm getting this frickin' term from. Help? Well, so like, I think going back to this conversation about like women's careers and stuff, at least from my point of view, I'm thinking, so if I have a partner, and this is one of the values that I think a woman can bring to my life. So if she can alleviate certain things in my life that make my life easier, and in so doing, I guess, let's say her earning potential is $70,000 a year. My earning potential is $5 million a year. If she can alleviate my time so that I can boost my income by 10%, wouldn't it make the most sense that she just stays at home and supports me in all the ways that she can support me, and I can bring in an extra $100,000 or $200,000 a year, versus her working a full-time job to make $70K when she could help me make $100, $200K extra a year by staying home and helping me in my mission.
I wonder if this is even the right way to look at it. But before I weigh in, I'll let the gals answer.
Help mate? Oh, have them answer what? My thing?
Yeah. Well, I was just my only thing is I think, and this is due to practical experience, of course, I don't have enough data to make this claim as being something which is solid. But this is just from kind of a mixture of anecdote and then what I perceive. Men will go through absolute hell on earth in order to take care of their women and their family if they just have this kind of minimum threshold which is given to them. And the thing is that there's so much willfulness. It's almost like what happens is if you give somebody too much, they just begin to expect more and more and more. And I think that this is what has happened in modernity with women, is that even kind of these basic things, like the idea that Brian says, well, I'd like a woman to bow after I get out of the fucking mines and I go up with coal all over my face and I just brought home $200,000 this year. This fucking bitch can't make some noodles for me? What the fuck? That's the thing, right? It's like, it's a legitimate criticism in many ways, because what's really being said here is like, look at everything I'm bringing to the table. And I every day, day in, day out, and I don't complain, I don't bitch, I don't whine, and I ask for such a small amount, and even then we have to quibble about it. And that's really what that's about, right? The vow has nothing to do with anything other than just show me that I actually matter, and that all of modernity, which kisses women's asses, even though it's built on the backs of men, that you actually respect the fact that that's done. And that's all that's really being asked. And so I almost wonder if even this is the wrong way to look at it, right? The way that Brian looks at it. I think that women should be fucking grateful. They should be grateful. They live in the best society ever, and it's all built on the backs of not them. The air conditioning, which enables them to even exist, everything which allows them to exist in modernity is built by men, and they're the most ungrateful, snot-nosed brats about it that you've ever seen. And there's really no cause for it because they bring nothing to the table, none of them, including the old bags here who bring nothing to the table by their own admission except their pussy. And that, to me, is why, and when asked, this is all you get. I bring love and affection. You don't bring shit to the table. And that's why you can't even answer the damn question, no matter how many times we ask it. And it makes me sick because that is modernity.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Well, first of all, I don't know if that is being addressed to Asia and I or being addressed to women in general, but you did point us out. However, you have no clue, like...
Good. What do you bring to the table besides your vagina? Give me a real example. If you want a man to take care of you for the rest of your life, what do you bring to the table except your vagina and a bunch of baggage?
I'm bringing a lot. Like I said earlier, if you're listening...
Well, let's start with the baggage you bring, and then we'll move on to the awesome stuff you bring. Let's start with the baggage.
Donated $100. Wilson, well said.
All right. Thank you, negative 100. He wants
Let's start with the baggage first.
Okay, my baggage, personally...
Yeah.
Well, I have 3 kids. I was in a marriage for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And basically, that's it. I'm
that's
single
it?
now.
Do you realize how monumental what you just said was, that you have 3 children and most of your life was taken by another man for 20 years? You can't give another man children? What are you bringing to the table, really?
I've never dated a man anyways that wants more children. And second of all, I'm not looking for a man to marry. I would like to have a companion. And if I do find the right man, I'll marry again. However, I'm not out there searching for a man to care for me.
You're not. She is. But if you're not, then what else are you bringing to the relationship besides, again, just your vagina, really? Like, what are you really bringing to a man that he's just really going to desire? What makes you so special that you stand out besides this one attribute? Honestly.
Honestly, I'm going to say I am a great cook, great cleaner. Mm-hmm. I know how to communicate well. Mm-hmm. And I know how to please a man.
Yeah, and the men that you end up with have to be exceptional. They have to be exceptional in their field, or they can't bring home the kind of money which would be required to take care of you and whatever the graduation gifts for your kids are.
Well,
whatever
first of all,
whatever the things are which are necessary to move over to the resources to your children, your offspring, right?
I've dated men that make less money than me, and I never had a problem with that at all.
Well, you're not with them for a reason, right?
Well, it had nothing to do with financials.
Sure, I'm sure it didn't. It just happened to be a happenstance that they made less than you and you're still not with them, right?
Had nothing to do with the reason why we're not together, honestly.
Oh. Okay. I believe you. But in any case, no, I don't really see much in the way of attributes. I don't think that either of you are particularly stunning. I don't think you're particularly funny. I don't think you're particularly engaging. And if you can cook and clean, great. So can all of the 20-year-old girls who are sitting there right next to you, all of them. So what exactly are you bringing that's so monumental that offsets the baggage to age to a relationship why somebody should pick you? That's the question. And it's not even to be mean. It should just be pointed. It should just point out something that's obvious to men and that women just kind of pretend doesn't exist.
Well, you can ask that question to anybody, man or woman, right?
You can, and that's why I'm asking it to you.
Yeah, well, friendship, if you find the right match with the right person, friendship, quality, personality, companionship, someone that you can laugh with, someone that you can share stories with.
Yeah, they can
and
do
just
all that
go
with a
through daily
25-year-old.
activities with and have fun with.
They can do all that with a 25-year-old.
You sure can. You sure can. But you know
That's my
what?
point, though. It's like, so what do you really bring into the table
Well, I
here?
can
That's
say
so
the same
great,
thing.
you know?
I could date a younger guy, but I choose not to because you're not on the same page, like mentally,
Well,
emotionally.
hang on. You can fuck a younger guy. That doesn't mean he's going to marry you.
True.
Yeah, and that's most older women have this experience. Yeah, younger
That's
men will bang them,
stereotyping,
but they ain't
though.
going to marry them, and they ain't going to be with them long term. You can't give them kids, and so they end up dumping you. That's what happens. In fact, this gal next to you said she had that very experience. She dated a younger man, and he decided, I actually want kids, and you can't give them to me. These are some big. That's all. By the way, all of that is baggage. All of it. You can't give them kids, that's baggage. If you have kids, that's baggage. If you XYZ, that's all baggage. It's not just, I have an ex-husband and I have 3 children. It's, I'm older, that's baggage 1. It's, I have 3 children, that's baggage 2. I can't give you children, that's more baggage. All of this is baggage.
Everybody has baggage at a certain age, and that's why I feel like, for me personally, I like to date guys my age because we probably have equal amounts of baggage, right? I'm not going to be
No, I don't think you
unrealistic and
do.
date somebody that's a lot younger than me, that's going to view me as an older person with a lot of baggage.
Men your age, in comparison to you, are going to be highly pursued by almost all women in your age bracket. Most of them, because they've accrued a ton of resources. So your dating competition's even higher in your age bracket,
Oh, I
would
definitely
argue,
know that.
than in the 20s, right?
Right.
Yeah.
harder to
So
date
I mean,
the
the
older
thing
you
is
get.
you have to be exceptional in your age bracket to net these men, because for one thing, their libido's way down, right? They're not necessarily just looking at you for sex like a lot of the younger men would be. And so that's one of the big netting points that women have. I'm young and beautiful, and all these men want to bang me. And that's a big netting point, a big selling point. Men in your age bracket, their libido goes significantly down. Now you got to actually bring something to the table. That's why women in your age bracket have such a hard time netting a good quality man, right? Am I wrong?
No, I hear you. And our dating pool's so much smaller than when we're
Way
younger.
smaller. Yeah, way
So
smaller.
there's slim pickings.
Slim,
on both sides,
slim
men and
pickings. So
women.
that's why it's not, I'm not asking these questions to be mean or cruel to you. I'm asking them pointedly because I understand that in your age bracket, the dating market's even more vicious in many cases than it is for younger people. Your options are way slimmer. And you have to be exceptional to stand out to men who don't just value you for your vagina, which younger men do.
Right.
And so when I ask these questions, what do you bring to the table? That's what I'm asking it for. So what do you, now that you understand, what do you bring to the table?
I just told you earlier.
Go ahead and tell me again.
Friendship, good personality, someone to talk to, someone to support. I would definitely support him emotionally, good conversation, a buddy to go places with, to travel, to hang out with.
And what makes
and
those
to stay up
qualities-
at late nights.
Sure. What makes those qualities exceptional in comparison to other women in your same age bracket?
I'm a good listener, and I'm down to earth. I'm not fake or phony.
Okay.
Wait.
All right.
Do you have fake titties?
I'm not fake or phony on the inside.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Well, didn't you just hear him? Our dating pool is slim and picking, so we got to be above and beyond, right? To attract.
But you said you're not fake, but...
I'm talking personality-wise, internally.
Sorry,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
sorry.
Crickets.
Yeah. Cue the crickets.
It's actually an interesting phenomenon. You know, if I were to ever start a dating show, I think I would probably focus mostly on 45 to 55, even to early 60s people. And the reason is because the dating market there, I have so many people reach out to me who are in this age bracket.
GMD Jim donated $99. Andrew Wilson. Nailing IT again. We can hire a cook, house cleaner and escort, if so desired. We also have friends. What makes all that baggage worth IT?
Yeah, I was just kind of going to dive into this. But the number one complaint that I hear from men in this age bracket, in their 50s especially, is like, look, my libido is way down. I don't value women anymore the same way I did in my 20s, where I wanted to have sex every single day, multiple times a day in many cases, this type of thing, right? The women in their 20s.
Old Man Marine donated $100. Andrew, you're amazing. Ex-wife never satisfied, never happy or grateful even though I made more money every year. Vacations, jewelry, health ins for 4 of us. She thinks she can do better. Now she broke.
Yeah, that's a very common story too. But anyway, yeah, so this is what I hear commonly in this age bracket is because I don't value those things, right? The women that I'm looking for, they need to bring me one thing, one big quality, which is that I don't have to take care of all their bullshit, and they fracture my peace, right? They fracture my peace. And so what is the point of me having a companion, right? If I'm only going to have sex with her, once a week because my libido is way down, if she brings all this baggage to the table that I then have to deal with. That's the number one complaint that I hear. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Men in their 50s, not going to be boning as much as men in their 20s. Makes total sense. Women in their 50s, of course, they can still, have the same kind of libido, but it goes down for them too. And so they're asking, what is me as an established man in my 50s, let's say, I have all these resources. Why the fuck should I share them with her? And I don't have a great answer to that. What are the things that they're bringing to the table where you should share those resources with them? And every time I ask the women this, they kind of come up with the same type of answers. Well, I'm funny, I'm cute, I'm snarky, I'm quirky, I have all these different things, but they're like, all of them are like that. And so this is kind of where I end up, just kind of trying to understand, right? I'm trying to understand from your perspective, what are these things really?
Well, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to men out there when I say this. However, I feel like when men divorce, it's very different from when women divorce, because when men divorce, they're so quick to replace their ex-wife because they want someone to take care of them, cook their dinner, do all the necessary wife stuff, right? But for women, when they divorce, sometimes they soar and they become a better person, they're more successful, they're able to focus more on themselves. So I feel like there's a codependency issue here with men and women. And I'm not trying to disrespect or bash men.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I feel
of course they do. They tend to do better in divorces because they end up with the man's income from the previous husband's income. They end up with his house.
Sometimes.
They end up with child support. They end up with alimony. So, of course, they end up... now, by the way, their income bracket generally goes way down, but they end up doing better solo only because of these factors that most of the time the court rules in their favor and gives them the allocation of those resources. So men don't usually have that advantage.
Yeah, but putting the financials aside, I'm saying emotionally, women are stronger single than men are. Men feel like they always need to be with a woman, I feel like, after they lose a spouse or after they go through a divorce. That's my experience with some of my friends and my guy friends and relatives. I feel like it's always the men that are so quick to find a replacement because they're scared to be alone.
It's funny because the marriage rates don't show that. They show that the women remarry much faster than men remarry. Almost like they had other people in their sights to remarry after they got the divorce.
Like in their pipeline on the sidelines?
Yeah, exactly, in their pipeline. So the thing is like, one, I'm not going to agree that that's true. And two, I've seen what happens when a man is widowed in his 40s and in his 50s. And it is fucking ridiculous. It's every predatory woman in her 40s and 50s that exists on planet Earth coming out of the woodwork before his wife's even in the ground. Before she's even in the ground. I'm so sorry this happened. Oh, because now he's available. The fight over widowers is insanity.
Yeah,
Never seen anything like
that.
it. Yeah, you've seen it, right?
seen
In
that.
your age bracket, it happens a lot. They go absolutely wild for them. You know what doesn't happen, though? That doesn't happen to widows. Doesn't happen to widows the same way.
Sometime-
Why do you
oh,
think that is?
I've seen widows.
Okay, I'm not saying all the time it doesn't. I'm just saying it happens way more with widowers. And I think the reason it does is because a widower is showing a bunch of these qualities that women want. Quality one that a widower is showing is, I was with my wife for the duration. I'm a steadfast individual, right? I wasn't leaving
Hillary
her. She had
Epstein
to die.
donated
Right?
$100. BS, divorced here too. The woman leaves. Im single after 2 years, she is taken. And 50-50 child support $1,750 per month. Equal time. Wrecked all my assets and took half.
Yeah, not shocked there, but yeah. So the widower is showing though, I have all these qualities you want. I'm stalwart. I'm steadfast. I stayed with my wife for the duration. She had to die, or I wouldn't even be separated from her. Right. So he's showing all the qualities that a woman wants. What's interesting is a widow doesn't necessarily show that they have those qualities. Just by virtue of the man dying, it's not a demonstration to other men that those qualities are present the same way it is in the opposite direction. And I just wondered, like, why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that they flock so much to widowers instead of widows?
I'm not sure, but I mean, back to the whole dating pool, slim pickings. You know,
Yeah, but it's slim pickings on both ends, right?
correct.
Yeah. So the thing is that I would have expected to see as many suitors. It's really interesting. The older you get as a man, how many suitors open up to you who are women if you want them, versus when you're younger, the opposite is true, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we come up with these memes of like cat lady and, you know, you're going to die alone and this type of thing. It's because men, when they have tons of resources, they can just kind of have their pick, right?
That's true.